Clones, crocodiles, conspiracies, Resident Evil has them all, and unpicking all those mysteries may require some help. We're here to fill in the gaps and explain the implications of hidden details as we answer the biggest questions raised by the show's ending. We're about to inject a whole dose of spoilers straight into your veins, so make sure you've watched Resident Evil first. At the end of the series, we see Jade and Billy fleeing New Raccoon City in 2022, and an older Billy kidnapping Jade's daughter in 2036. The trickiest part of Resident Evil is juggling those two timelines, with Jade and Billy pre-apocalypse adventures in 2022 and Jade fighting for her life 14 years later. What we don't see in the 2022 flashbacks is how 2036 went to the dogs, zombified or otherwise, and why Billy turned on Jade. But throughout the show, we're given hints to fill in some gaps. When 2036 Jade is caught in episode 1, the bounty hunters spot her identity number from New Raccoon City.
She's a survivor.
And confirm that this is where the zombie outbreak began.
You're Inc. You were in New Raccoon when the outbreak started.
As to why Billy shoots Jade in 2036, we do see some conflict between the sisters in 2022. But the real indicator hides in Billy's speech. She mentions events that have yet to happen in the show.
You ever notice how everyone around you somehow dies? Simon, Bert, Kim, Hiroki, Dad.
Their dad blew up, destroying Umbrella's lab, and Simon is killed by his mum after being bitten by Billy. #world's worst mother. But in the 2022 timeline, Bert is still alive and drives off with the girls, and we've yet to meet characters called Kim and Hiroki. A clear sign that the sisters' journey from strained siblings to sworn enemies has plenty of secrets yet to be revealed.
Stay the fuck away from her!
At the end of the season, we see something gnarly doing his best Carrie impersonation. The claw belongs to this nasty-looking chap, previously contained in Umbrella's laboratory until Albert blows it up. And while we don't see what triggers the zombie outbreak in 2022, we'd bet a yearly supply of joy pills on it having something to do with this guy. To understand why, we need to quickly talk about the T-virus. It's mentioned at several points in the show and has a long history in the wider Resident Evil universe.
But the drug contains a derivative of the T-virus, a pathogen we originally developed for the American military. That project was, ill-fated.
The T-virus was a mutagenic plague engineered by the Umbrella Corporation in the 1970s. This isn't the pharmaceutical company we see in the show, but a gang of mad scientists mutating people into monsters for military purposes. They create the T-virus, and the Resident Evil games, all set before the show, are about heroes fighting the creatures that escape as a result. Evelyn Marcus does hint at this dark past.
The old Umbrella, my father, made his share of mistakes, but this is not that company.
And she would know. In the games, there is a character called James Marcus, her dad. In the 2022 timeline, the T-virus still exists, albeit as a strain in Umbrella's joy pills, and this explains the weird and wonderful creatures seen throughout the show. The virus does different things to different subjects. People mostly become zombies, but it can also mutate them into lickers, the guys with the horrible tongues living in the Channel Tunnel. Wouldn't happen on the Eurostar. If the virus gets into animals, it greatly increases their size, explaining the giant spiders, Jade's caterpillar friend, and the scariest crocodile this side of Peter Pan. As for our friend in the rubble, he resembles the ultimate form the virus takes in the games, the Tyrant, an unstoppable killing machine with massive claws, which is why releasing him from his tank is likely to be very bad news for the people in 2022. We learn in the series that Jade and Billy's dad, Albert Wesker, is not Father of the Year material. He is in fact a clone of another Albert Wesker, let's call him OG Wesker, a former Umbrella scientist who made copies of himself to work on secret science projects. We meet 3 clones in the show, Albert, Bert and Albie. Albie dies when Umbrella soldiers storm OG Wesker's lab, leaving Bert, who is the unhinged, breadstick-loving clone,
More breadsticks.
and Albert, father to Jade and Billy. We learn that this Albert genetically modified his daughters so that their blood could keep him alive. As a clone, his body wasn't built to endure. At the end of the season, Albert sacrifices himself and leaves the teens to escape with Bert. The use of clones also explains how Albert Wesker, or a version of him, is alive in 2022. In the Resident Evil universe, OG Wesker, the mastermind with the cool glasses and leather coat, fell into some lava in 2009. A fact the show does reference.
He was killed by the original Albert Wesker, our creator.
Creator.
We were part of like a research and development team he put together to help him. He died in a volcano. It's okay though, he wasn't very nice.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. And if you are familiar with the wider Resident Evil universe, it does explain a few moments in this season. We see OG Wesker in a flashback to 2005, set in a place called the Arklay Mountains. This is the location of the very first Resident Evil game, where Umbrella made the T-Virus. It's also OG Wesker we see and hear in a tape the sisters find in their dad's hidden room. The video shows Wesker injecting a mutated woman named Lisa. Again, she's a character from the first game, Lisa Trevor, who appears in this horrific, monstrous form. Oh, and if you're wondering where Dad Albert gets his weird approach to home security, the tune the girls play on the piano to unlock his room is Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, which you played on a piano in the original Resident Evil game to unlock a different secret room. In fact, the whole 5th episode, Family Movies, feels like a love letter to Resident Evil puzzles. Blowing a dog whistle to grab a key from a dog's collar is another conundrum from the game.
You chipped fuzzy baby.
One final mystery from the ending. Before his explosive resignation, Albert writes the name of a helpful contact on a note. In the final shots of the show, this is revealed to read Ada Wong. Like OG Wesker, she's another key character in the Resident Evil universe, a spy whose shifting alliances could never be pinned down. That she works outside of Umbrella, or at least did in her video game past, would suggest she's a wise person to turn to given their current situation. In the wider universe, Ada first appeared in 1998 during a zombie outbreak in the original Raccoon City. This is the event referenced throughout the show. The girls find reference to it in their dad's 1998 files, and they learn that things didn't end well there.
Do you know what happened to the first Raccoon City?
There's some kind of gas, like a big fire or something.
No, it was destroyed by a nuclear blast.
But hey, if Ada survived one zombie apocalypse, maybe she can survive another. Intriguingly, her address is listed as Tokyo. Does this hint at more globetrotting to come? A trip to Japan would explain how Jade and Billy could meet a Hiroko, one of the mystery characters Billy says Jade has killed between 2022 and 2036. Only time will tell. And so we reach the end of Resident Evil, a world with as many brain teasers as it has brain munchers. Why not share your own theories in comments? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Still Watching Netflix for more videos like it.